All right, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Wakal I want to say give double honors to the apostles and the bishop elders, a great millstone for teaching us this word in truth and sincerity, and for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching and prophesying and fearing in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Shalom to the elect. Hey, I'm the brother Gabar, Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another quick lesson. And it's just going to be a short history on long hair as it pertained to the Greeks and how it affected the customs of the ancient Israelites, particularly the house of Judah, which consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the three tribes respectively, during a time of Hellenization, and what a lot of people don't understand is like these customs that came into our culture during our the Greek conquest of the world, the known world at that time, which really was Hellenization, and our people in the Greek captivity, under people like Antiochus Epiphanes the Fourth. He changed a lot of our customs by force of the sword. And then eventually our people started taking on these customs. Then as they went away from their native culture, our native customs, more into Hellenization, a lot of these things became commonplace, So a lot of these things Esau picked up from the people he took over when Philip Macedon and his ilk, those Edomites, was Alexander the Great's father, took over those Greeks. They took on their customs. They took their customs like they were their own, whatever they deemed was favorable, right? So, even long hair, but that's not a natural custom for the Israelites. I just looked up a few things, Salaki. And Salakia, I took a call, but I forgot my train of thought. But real quick, let me read this. It says, did the ancient Greeks have shoulder-length hairstyles for men, right? Because we see in this world, that's something that's highly pushed. Now you gotta understand something too. The ancient Greeks, the Minoans, all them people, they were actually Japhetic people. These people that you see out here in Hawaii, Tongan, Samoa, New Zealand, those are all sons and daughters of Japheth. And before they dwelt here in the Pacific Isles, the Polynesian Isles, the Micronesian Isles, these people were scattered all in Europe because that's where they lived at, particularly Greece. That's why a lot of these people, they look like this, but these people, they don't know that. They've been so far detached from their ancient history, but these are these people. And Esau took their ways and pushed them out of that land and took over those lands and took a lot of their customs, right? Like one thing, I played this video, I'm gonna get back to the point. I played this game called Assassin's Creed Valhalla, right? And in that game, their base of operations is something called a longhouse, right? And the game is made of wood with thatched roofing, right? But that's the way that these Japhites build their homes. If you look up ancient Polynesian house styles, you're gonna see that they dwelt in big long houses. Separate, men separated from the women, but they dwelt in these big long houses, and that those customs come from when they were living up there in Europe. Likewise, this long hair on their men, because that's not an Israelite custom to have long hair, right? Let me get a precept real quick. This is Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua speak unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them, right? The heathens they're dismayed at the signs of heaven. They end up worshiping a thunderbolt. They see a chariot in the sky. They'll worship that. They get dismayed. They get scared, But we ain't supposed to be that way because we understand the order of operations of the heavens by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. But our people would learn these customs. They were doing it even before the Greek captivity. They were learning the customs of the heathen and taking them on to themselves. Mainly idolatry. A lot of that a lot of this, if not all of these things that our people are doing, going off in sin, it initially stems from idolatry. Okay, so it says, did the ancient Greeks have a shoulder length hairstyle for men? It says, for centuries after 500 BCE, men of Athens went for a moderately shorter style, but never close cropped like the Romans. Spartan men took pride in continuing the old traditions. And then you see a statue of ancient Greeks. These are Japhetic people with long hair. You know, well, Japhetic men. These are men with long hair. There's the customs of them. Now I got some more information. This is what did the ancient Jews think about the ancient Greeks? They realized that Greek culture was a main alternative to their own, which frowned upon wrestling naked. Yeah, and we're going to read about that in the book of Maccabees. Wrestling naked, worship idols, and orgiastic practices. Assimilationists were an issue. Well, it was the people that were against assimilation as it were the people that were for it. It says, use of Greek for intellectual discourse was not frowned upon. The Greek translation of the Torah was in frequent use. And why was it in frequent use? Because you had Israelites that didn't speak Hebrew. You know, you had Israelites that only spoke Greek, you know, or Hellenistic language. All right. So they were detached away from their nationality, but they knew they were Israelites. And then you had Israelites that were practicing Israelites, but they only spoke Greek. So you had the Septuagint, and Apostle Tahar brought this out. And I didn't mention, but this video was inspired by a video Apostle Tahar did regarding long hair. You know, because those customs are still being used today. And men that call themselves in Israel and in the truth, they wear these long hairstyles not because they're an ancient custom of our forefathers, which the scriptures speak about learning the old paths, right? Right? There's something that we all to do in this truth, right? This is Jeremiah 6:16. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, stand ye in the way and seek and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein. What is the old paths? Our customs, our mannerisms, our customs, our culture, our God, following after our laws and commandments. Those are the old ways. Those are the good ways. Those are the old paths, right? Where is the good way? And walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. And why did they do that? Because our people were wooed by the heathen. You know, they were enamored by the heathen customs and ways, and they didn't want to leave off of that. They wanted to try to change who they really are, you know? And that's why it affected us the way it did. See, these other nations, they amalgamate to these other nations' cultures when they want to, and nothing happens to them. But when we do it, we getting judged, man. Why? Because we're not allowed to do these things. We are ordered not to do these things. So anyway, it says the use of Greeks for intellectual discourse was not frowned upon. The Greek translation of the Torah was in frequent use, but unlike the other ancient suggestions of great respect for Judaism, periodic Greek officials did not so respect Judaism. Yeah, Greek officials they didn't. You can read that in First Maccabees, right? Nor, of course, Jewish desire to be led by a Jewish king. In 168 BC, there was desecration of the Second Temple by the erection of a Zeus statue in its sacred precincts by Antiochus IV Epiphanes, right? So, as with Roman rule, Greek officialdom could not always be counted on not to make sure the Jews hated them. Jews in Israel were mostly farmers. They weren't leaving us writings to read. So by necessity, we are getting views from intellectuals like Josephus. Yahweh Shai lived within a 2-day walk of a Greek city. So everyone must have had some opinion of the Greeks, whether we can say it or not. Yeah, and why did they have a problem with it? Because it was usurping our culture, right? So going back into this long hair thing, Salakia, going back into the long hair thing, this was usurping our culture because this wasn't a custom of our people. And even during the time of Yahushua, like you see these pictures of the one you even call Jesus Christ. It's always an Edomite with long hair or some type of long flowing locks. You know, this thin, emaciated looking Edomite with long hair. Or then they'll spruce it up and they'll give him blonde hair and make him a little heftier. You know what I'm saying? But he always got this long flowing hair. That's the common image. But Yahushua never wore his hair like that. And his father didn't wear his hair like that. And those that stuck to our customs and our ways, we didn't wear our hair like that. Real quick, this is it says right here, this is from HWA Library, which is Herbert W. Armstrong Library.com. It says, I'm just going to read it verbatim. It says, did Jesus wear long hair? In a recent number of Tomorrow Worlds, we ran in an article absolutely proving that short hair was the accepted mode in Roman-occupied Judea. And this is another reason why Paul was telling them Jakes in Corinth, the men, that they shouldn't wear long hair. You know, having long hair was confusion, right? Because our custom was short hair, right? So it says, let me read it again. We ran into an article absolutely proving that short hair was the accepted mode in Roman-occupied Judea. The article profusely illustrated with pictures of busts of Roman emperors as reprinted here. Short hair was the dominant accepted mode for men in the time of Christ. Pick up any good illustrated history book on the period and you will see the evidence before your eyes. Two good books in the area are The History of the Holy Land, Michael Aviona, editor, and Daniel to Paul. Now notice the bust and statue of various Greeks and Romans of the time of Christ. The men are wearing their hair short on every one of them in a manner of similar to that generally accepted today. For example, on page 126 and 7, work are found a bust of Pompey, Augustus, and one believed to be Herod, all with short hair, right? Because the Romans wore short hair. But remember, the Romans came in right after the Greeks. So those customs were still a problem. You know what I'm saying? They were still a problem. Let me read this. Prior to the coming of the Romans, it was the Hellenistic Greek culture which dominated Eastern Mediterranean, and Judea by no means escaped even in Yahushua's day. A large segment of Jewish populations was Greek by speaking and Hellenistic in outlook. The Greek Hellenistic style of men was to wear their hair short. On page 146, Daniel Paul pictures a marble statuette, an unidentified man in a Hellenistic period. It says a time to close. This is the first time I'm reading this article, so bear with me. A time close contact between the Jewish and the Hellenistic civilization in thought and art every day in life. Whether Jewish or Gentile, he evokes his age and environment. The man had short hair, but noticed that the author, a learned historian and archaeologist, could not tell whether the man was Gentile or Jewish. Why? Because the styles of the day were the same throughout the Near Eastern period and region. What about non-Hellenistic Jews? The Jewish, it says these Jews were aware of the statement in Ezekiel 44 and 20. Neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks to grow long. There you go. You ain't supposed to have that. The Talmud further tells us that that's Ezekiel 44 and 20. Uh, I'm not gonna read any more of this, but again, the Romans wore that, right? But long hair was a thing of the day. Let me go to some more information I found. This is it says, why did Greek men wear their hair long? It says the mode of wearing, the Greeks of the oldest times regarded long hair in a man as an ornament and only outed as a sign of mourning, right? It says, apart from that, long hair in ancient Greece was seen as a sign of power and an ability to keep yourself clean and healthy, you know. And even today, you know, women, they love these men with dreads, the long hair, the crazy wild looks, man, but those are all heathenistic things, you know. Those are heathenistic customs. And our people have taken unto those things, the men as well as the women. The women love to see men like that, and men love to be like that, but that shit is out of order, you know. Let me see something. You know, this dreadlock, yeah, these customs right here, these are customs of the heathen, right? These are not ancient Israelite customs, trying to line it up at the head to the long dreadlocks. And, you know, you see a lot of men, it's like IUIC, they push that. And other camps too, they do the same shit. But this is not a custom of Israel. Look at it. This is effeminate, bro. This dude is effeminate, you know? And that's what this breeds. It breeds confusion. And this is why Paul spoke against it, you know? He spoke against that, right? Right? 1 Corinthians 11 and 14. Do not even nature doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man hath long hair, it is a shame unto him. Right here in the NLT, it says, isn't it obvious that it is disgraceful for men to have long hair, right? And why was it disgraceful? Because that's not our custom, right? But you see that all throughout society today, as you did it in days of old. I'm just looking for commentary. I like Matthew Henry's commentary. Matthew Henry commentary on 1 Corinthians 11 and 14. Right? So like it. Just bear with me. I'm just going to see if I can find it real quick. Right. Here it is. It says, he enforces his argument for the natural covering provided for women. Judging yourselves, consult your own reasons, hearken to what nature suggests. It is commonly for a woman to pray to the Most High uncovered. Should there not be a distinction kept between the sexes in wearing their hair? And that's why it's not made for us to have long hair as men. Because, you know, you see this dude from the back, you don't know what he is in the front. And that's any kind of hair that's long like that. Because it bring that feminine spirit on a person, right? So it says, should there not be a distinction kept up between the sexes in wearing their hair? Since nature has made one, is it not a distinction which nature has kept up among all civilized nations? The woman's hair is a natural covering to wear it long. It is a glory to her. But for a man to have long hair or cherish it, it is a token of softness or effeminacy. No, it should be our concern, especially in Christian and religious assemblies, to make no breach upon the rules of natural decency. He sums up all by referring those who were contentious to the usage and customs of the churches, customs in the great measures and rule of decency, and the common practices of churches is what would have them and govern themselves by. He does not silence the contentiousness by mere authority, but lets them know that they would appear to the world as very odd and singular and human, right? Because we weren't following those customs, right? So that it would obviously would make us odd amongst the vast majority of the people of the world, you know. But yeah, I got some more information. I didn't want to make this too long, but ultimately, all of this stuff is the customs of the heathen. And these are not ancient customs of our forefathers, you know. You got Jake out here looking crazy and bugged out, shaving their beards, marring their beards, growing long hair. This dude's no different than a fat black woman with dreadlocks and dyeing her hair. And if they were faced the opposite way with their heads, the back of their heads facing you, you wouldn't know what you looking at, man. Right? To the nigga turn around. So again, all of that's confusion, you know, and that's what's pushed here. This is not, long hair is not a custom of the ancient Israelites. So that's a shalom on to the next.